Hey ghouls, goblins, and creatures of the abysmal night. I am Michaela J, and this is the lovely series on my channel called Gothic Americana, How Haunted Are These Roots? Where basically every week I kind of try to focus on something that's a little kind of messed up, but also very interesting in the Gothic culture here in the Americas. So this week we are talking about the beast among us. So yes, the Sasquatches, the Mothmans, and the legends of old folklore here in America. And it's not going to be a super duper intellectual kind of like breakdown video essay type of thing. I just kind of want to talk about these creatures and why I think they're so cool and interesting to the land. But I'm also not going to make it a countdown, since last week I did a countdown of some of Gothic Americana's like best movies and TV shows. So yeah, I just really want to talk about these creatures, their importance here, and why I think they fit into the Gothic Americana narrative. So if you're interested in that, then let's get to haunting, shall we? Also, side note, hi, Michaela. I'm all up in the camera this time. I am still feeling a little bit under the weather, so I do apologize for the he's and ha's that you'll hear throughout the video. Please excuse that, and I'll try to get my cold and this weather under control. Monsters and beasts in these stories are used as a way to explore our fears, danger, the taboo, and at times our ignorance. Monsters have been around for centuries, whether it's a warning like the big bad wolf or used on the hero's journey, such as the old legends of Beowulf, Homer's Odyssey, and the Epic of Gilgamesh. Monsters have been around forever, and in America there's an interesting blend of these monsters, and it's due to the blend of just America in general. You have the indigenous people's original lore, then you have the African Americans who were brought over as slaves and who have integrated their lore into stuff, and then you have the Europeans who came over. And you see, with the vastness of the land and the unfamiliarity, it is the breeding ground for the perfect American beast. The more well-known American monsters include Sasquatch, aka Bigfoot, found usually in the Pacific Northwest region, the Jersey Devil, found in Jersey, the Wendigo, which is known among the Great Plains indigenous tribes, the Mothman, found in West Virginia, and then the Rougarou, which is a Louisiana Cajun folklore werewolf beast. It's pretty epic, if I do say so myself. So what's really interesting about these American beasts and the folklore here is that these creatures aren't really meant to be destroyed or hunted in like a protagonist saves the day kind of way, but they kind of just represent the land and the culture of the people here, and why you should kind of be wary of where you walk around and who you want to mess with. So an example of this would be the Gullah people's Boo Hag, and the Boo Hag is like this almost vampiric / succubus type of creature who steals people's like skin and like rides them in the night and feeds off of their energy. And this is like a creature that can be found in more of like the Carolina regions. That's where the story is told a lot. It's a fascinating creature. A lot of sexual innuendo there. Kind of fits in with all the other vampires. By the way, if you haven't seen my vampire video, you should totally check that out. I have it somewhere around here. You can find it on the Gothic Americana playlist. But anyway, let's get back into it. Let's look at the wampus cat, a half woman, half cougar type of beast that is found in the Appalachian Mountains and has origins in Cherokee mythos. But first, let's get through the non-Native American stereotypes, which is basically portrays this cat as being an evil creature with yellow eyes that pierce the souls of those unfortunate to cross its path. But according to the original myth, the woman who turned into the wampus cat was very beautiful and had this insane kind of consuming curiosity about some dark magic. And so she cloaked herself in the skin of a cougar and like snuck and watched this ritual by men. And when she was discovered, she was cursed to wear the skin of the cougar and wander in the woods, banished to be alone forever. And the lore here is to warn those of not to be consumed by their own curiosity. And for a more modern take, and for people who live in the mountains and are familiar earlier in the lands, it's kind of just a warning of you don't know what's lurking and what can consume you. There are old spirits in the past who are going to mess with you because they have done wrong, and they will find you if you cross them. So as a warning, y'all, like, look, I know folklore and stuff is like fun tales we tell kids, but there's a meaning behind it. It helped our ancestors. It helps people who live there now to just basically be cautious of where they go, because there are creatures there that you don't want to mess with. Now for a more modern creature, let's talk about everyone's favorite cryptid, the Mothman. So the Mothman is a humanoid creature that was seen in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966. So like one of the first discoveries was on November 12th, where 5 men in the nearby town of Clendon were digging a grave when they reported seeing the man-like shadowy figure fly over their heads from a nearby tree. Then 3 days later, there was 2 young couples who were chased in their car by this figure who had a 10-foot wingspan, apparently. And ever since then, like, cataclysmic events kind of follow him. And I wanted to bring up the Mothman because unlike the other stories of where it's connecting, you know, different cultures or just kind of a warning of the land, the Mothman is seen as more of a celebration. There's a whole ass museum dedicated to him. There are festivals. I know people who have gone there and had a great time, and it's great for the West Virginian economy. And what's really cool is apparently on June 20th, as of like June 2021, there's a petition to basically get rid of all the Confederate statues and replace them with Mothman, and right now it's up to 19,000 signatures. And, you know, I'm so cool with having cryptids and like our local beast of the area to be statues instead of for real monsters. Like, I'm down with that. It sounds pretty fun, and I'm not gonna lie. This is all to basically say that these American beasts rule the land with an iron fist, and they are not to be fucked with at all. And I related back to Southern goth like lore and stuff by just examining how when it comes to storytelling in the Southern Gothic genre, the monster is actually a human in its society itself and questioning everything. But I think it's fascinating that we do have these like old beasts and creatures here that we can use to explore damning stuff in society, but also tying them into our stories. And kind of like how I mentioned on the vampire episode, I wish we incorporated some of those old myths and kind of old beasts in our stories more, or just like, you know, recognize the allegory and connection with everything that goes on between that. So I just think it's cool how everything connects and how we can find stories and kinships in so many different ways. But with that, ghouls, goblins, and creatures of the abysmal night, I want to thank you for watching another episode of me kind of rambling and why I think Gothic Americana is like super cool and stuff. I've been your host, Michaela J, and if you want to see more of my face, then I highly recommend y'all subscribe to my channel. Please check me out next week, where I'm either going to do a legit breakdown of Southern Gothic literature, maybe talk about some classic writers such as William Faulkner and Edgar Allan Poe, or I might go around and show you my favorite haunted spots in Virginia. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how the budget goes, how much time I have to do that. If you want to see more of my silly little face, please follow my TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. I do have coherent thoughts on there sometimes, and if I don't, I just, you know, post a picture of this. So yeah, please subscribe, follow me on my socials, and I will be haunting y'all later.